Beyond having game. Beyond having game. Let's talk about it. Now, what is beyond having game? I'd say that there are other things you can do in this life besides playing the game. The game has been put into this life of ours, but there are other ways you can deal with this life besides playing the game. You can also take a risk. So there you go. That's beyond having game or actually playing the game. It's actually taking the risk. And there are two ways, at least from what I've gathered. If there's more, maybe I'll talk about that down the road. But for now, two ways. One way of just doing things beyond playing the game instead of playing the game. One thing is you taking a bet, you know. That's part of taking that risk versus playing the game. Another aspect of doing the risk is just simply to gamble. So yes, you can bet or you can gamble. Those are the things you do in regards to taking the risk versus playing the game or having game, you know. So I'd say really, you know, in essence, you don't need to have game. What you need to really have is this knack for taking risks, because you see the odds, you see the way you need to move in this life. You know how to take a bet. You know how to gamble. You know how to gamble some things to where the odds are in your favor because of the many times you've done such things and you've sensed when the odds are in your favor. Versus playing the game and you follow the rules, but you don't win. Or the rules have been hacked. The rules change on you and people don't tell you about it. Or the cheaters prevail, so people cheat. So really the game, in essence, can just be more or less about cheating versus actually playing the game altogether. And do we not see this in society? How there's more so cheaters than actual players. Now that's for another conversation, but I just want you to keep in mind that you can avoid all those type of aspects of the game by just taking a risk. Your risk doesn't have a lot to do with cheaters, whether you take a bet or you gamble. Now with gamble, it can be a little bit more technical. Yes, it can be, but it depends on what type of gamble you take. Kind of similar to the slot machines, the lottery tickets. Now, one would say poker. Poker is a game. It's not a gamble. Now, they made that to where you can do a little bit of gambling with the game itself. A lot of games have now become, in essence, sort of a take on certain principles of gambling. But gamble never takes on principles of the game. Keep that in mind. Just wanted you to think about that. This life definitely is all about getting through it. And I believe nature really explains this idea of taking a risk versus playing the game. You know, you see in nature, there's always this aspect of things coming to be and to manifest based on a lot of the way a lot of animals, a lot of organisms interact with each other. They always take this risk, this gamble, but it's based on this urge that animals have within them, whether it is to migrate, whether it is to mate, to forage for food, to make a shelter. There's a gamble in that. There's a risk that had to be considered, even if it's something that's within them magnetically, because, you know, scientists like to say that animals don't really have a conscience. Plants and insects, they don't have a conscience. But obviously that's for another story as well. But just saying, beyond having game. Let me know what you think. Comment below. Signing out.